I'm not really sure where to post this, but whatever, I just need to get it off my chest. I live in a pretty average apartment complex, nothing fancy, 3 floors, kind of quiet. I've been here a little over a year now. Most people keep to themselves, say hi in the hall, take out the trash, and that's it. A few weeks ago, this new guy moved into the unit across from mine, early 30s maybe, thin buzz cut, always wearing the same grey hoodie, even when it was hot out. I didn't really think much of him at first, people come and go here. He leaves his door open sometimes, not like open, but cracked, just enough to see the light on the inside. There's never any noise, no TV, no talking. Never seen anyone go in or out except him. One time I was taking out the trash around 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was just standing in the hallway, not doing anything, no phone, just standing by his door, staring at the floor like he was waiting for something. I said hey, he didn't even flinch, just kept standing like I wasn't there. I walked past him and felt my skin crawl, like when you know someone's watching you. Fast forward to last night. Woke up around 3 AM because I heard this soft knocking. Not loud, just a few taps, spaced out. I thought it was my door, but when I looked through the peephole no one was there. I stood there for a second, and right as I started to turn away I heard it again. This time it sounded like it was coming from inside the hallway. Just slow, spaced out knocks, like someone testing how quiet they could be. I opened the door and looked out. Nothing, but his door was open again, a little wider than usual. Couldn't see anything inside, just darkness. Didn't go any closer. I closed my door, locked everything, and sat in my living room with the lights on like a dumbass for an hour before going back to bed. He didn't leave his apartment at all today. I know because I stayed home from work just to see. No movement, no sound, just the door shut tight now. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but something about him just feels wrong. Like he's pretending to be normal but doesn't actually know how. I don't know. Should I say something to management? The cops? It feels dumb, but I've got this feeling in my chest that won't go away. Update. About 6 months later. I wasn't planning on updating because honestly I tried to convince myself I was overreacting. I even stopped checking this account for months, but the last few weeks have been the worst it's ever been. I don't think this is something I can keep brushing off. For a while after the original post, the guy across the hall went quiet. He stopped leaving his door cracked, stopped standing in the hallway at weird hours. I didn't hear him moving around. If anything, it felt like he disappeared. I actually wondered if he moved out without me noticing. Then he started paying attention to me. The first time I thought it was just a weird coincidence. I opened my door to leave for work and his door was already open. Full swing. Lights off inside. He was standing right at the threshold, facing me. Like he had been standing there for a while. Like he was waiting for me to open my door. He didn't say anything, didn't smile, didn't even blink. His eyes were locked on my hands while I looked up at my place. Not my face, my hands. When I walked past him, he stepped backwards into his apartment and closed the door. Slow and silent. Told myself he was just awkward. The next day he knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks. Middle of the day. Not testing knocks like before, deliberate ones. When I opened it, he was inches away from the doorway, holding something at his side. I couldn't see what it was, but it looked like a dog handle or a strap. He said, "Do you hear them at night?" I asked who he meant. He didn't clarify. He just nodded once, like he expected me to understand, and walked back to his place. Door shut, no explanation. That week was the first time I started feeling like he was listening for me. Like he knew when I got home, when I showered, and when I moved around. Anytime I walked near my door, I heard the faintest shift of wood from across the hall, like someone adjusting their weight on the other side. The tapping started again a few days ago, the exact same soft, spaced out taps. Every single time I approached the door, it stopped instantly. I started checking the peephole every few minutes, nothing. But twice, I swear, I caught the thinnest sliver of light disappearing from under his door, like he'd moved away just before I looked. Yesterday was the worst thing so far. Came up the stairs with groceries and froze when I saw him. He was crouched directly in front of my door, not touching it, just crouched there. Both hands hanging in front of him, his face angled towards the door like he was listening to the inside of my apartment. He didn't react when I spoke. He didn't even startle. He just stood up very slowly and said in a weirdly calm voice, "You shouldn't ignore them." Then he walked back across the hall, no expression, no explanation, door shut. I actually thought about calling the police, but what would I even say? My neighbour crouched near my door. He never threatens me. He never raises his voice. Everything he does is just slightly wrong. Off. On purpose, I think. This morning, something happened that made my stomach drop. I woke up feeling exhausted since the tapping started around 3 AM again. I didn't get up, didn't make a sound, didn't turn on a single light. I just stayed still and listened. When I opened my door to leave around 8 AM, his opened the exact same second. Perfect timing. I hadn't made a noise in hours. I was barefoot and the latch is silent. He just looked at me and said, "You didn't sleep well." Not a question, just a statement like he knew. He shouldn't know anything about what goes on in my apartment. As he went back inside, I noticed something for the first time. The inside of his place looks empty. Not messy empty, more like there's just nothing in there. No furniture near the doorway, no shelves, just blank walls. And on one of those walls, right behind him as he closed the door, I'm almost positive I saw something pinned up. A bunch of small rectangles angled in a grid. They could be photos, but I only saw them for a second before that door shut. I don't want to jump to conclusions, I really don't, but something is deeply wrong with him. I felt it in my chest every time I hear a footstep in the hall. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not trying to make drama or go viral. I genuinely feel unsafe in my own home and I cannot break my lease. If anyone has realistic advice besides just move, please tell me. I'm trying not to panic, but he's getting bolder. I think he's watching me more closely than I originally thought. Final update. One thing I probably should have mentioned earlier. The day before I put the peephole camera in, I noticed him once in the parking lot when I got home from work. He was standing behind a parked car a few spaces away, like he'd just been loading or unloading something. When I got out of my car, I realised he was just standing there, looking in my direction, not doing anything, not moving, just watching. I hurried towards the entrance and didn't look back. I didn't hear him follow me or say anything, and I didn't see him for the rest of the day. The next day, I took advice from my last post and did something small but discreet. I didn't want my landlord knowing, so I got a peephole camera. Looks exactly like a normal peephole from the outside. No lights, no sound, nothing obvious. I installed it at night and didn't tell a single person. The next couple of nights were calm, and I felt a breath of fresh air, no activity. 2 nights later, around 3:10 AM, I got a motion alert. I almost didn't open it. The footage starts with an empty hallway, quiet. Then his door opens. He fully steps out this time, no hesitation, no looking around, just walks straight up to my door. He doesn't look at the peephole, doesn't look confused. He just raises his hand and taps. 3 taps, slow, evenly spaced out. The exact taps I've been hearing for months. He stands there for a few seconds like he's listening for something inside, then turns, calmly walks back across the hall and shuts his door. That's it. No reaction, no awareness he's being recorded. Like this was normal. The next morning, I went straight to the landlords and didn't downplay it anymore. I showed them the video, told them about the tapping, the hallway stuff, him being outside my door. They took it way more seriously this time. A few hours later, they came back and told me something that made my stomach drop. They said that apartment is supposed to be vacant. Not, we'll check. Not, maybe the records are wrong. Vacant. No lease, no tenant, and no one authorised to be there. They said maybe someone was squatting and asked if I was okay with them doing a walkthrough together. I said yes. We went upstairs, his door was unlocked. The apartment was empty, completely. No furniture, no clothes, no food, no trash, and no bedding. Like no one had ever lived there. The manager looked just as freaked out as I felt. I went back into my apartment shaking and locked the door behind me. That's when I noticed something else. My peephole camera was gone. I had locked my door when I left. It was still locked when I came back. No damage, no forced entry. Does he have keys? About 15 minutes later, there were police everywhere. Multiple cars, officers going in and out of the building. They knocked on my door and told me to grab essentials. I was escorted out, along with the other residents. No one telling us much, just that we can't go back in right now. I'm sitting at a McDonald's a couple of blocks over writing this, looking for a place to stay. A new police car goes past towards the building almost every 5 minutes. I don't know if he was ever supposed to be there. I don't know how he got in. I don't know how long he's been listening from the other side of my door. I'll update when I know more, if I can. I was 19 when this happened, working closing shifts at Sam's Club in North Carolina. It was only about a 7-minute drive from my mum's house, and at the time, that store felt like a second home to me. I genuinely love my co-workers, and we were close in the way that people get when they're stuck together late at night, tired and trying to survive the shift. We joked around, complained together, shared snacks in the break room. I trusted them. I trusted that if something ever went wrong, they'd have my back. This happened right after a big holiday sales event, the kind where the store is packed for days straight and everything feels chaotic. By the time things slowed down, the place always looked destroyed. Clothes everywhere, tables wrecked, carts abandoned wherever people felt like leaving them. That night, I was in the clothing section late, folding piles of clothes left behind on the tables. It was quiet in that specific way stores get near closing. The overhead lights were still bright, but the energy was gone. Just the hum of the building and the sound of carts rolling somewhere far away. That's when I noticed a man watching me out the corner of my eye. At first, it didn't feel serious. Customers stare sometimes, they hover, they wait for help. It's annoying, but normal. I assume he needed something. I asked, "Is there anything I can help you find?" He answered in a nervous, high-pitched voice, asking for different sizes. Something about the way he spoke felt off, but not enough to alarm me. I helped him find what he needed and went back to folding. I was exhausted and just wanted the night to end. After that, he didn't leave. He started complimenting me, telling me I was pretty, asking if I was Hispanic. That should have been a red flag, but I brushed it off. Retail teaches you to ignore discomfort. People say weird things all the time. I even told myself he might be harmless. I remember thinking he might be gay, which sounds ridiculous now, but at the time it made me dismiss the unease completely. As the store was closing, he asked for my Snapchat. I gave it to him. Even now, that makes me cringe. I wasn't interested. I wasn't planning on talking to him. I think I just wanted the interaction to end without it being awkward. I was 19, tired, and bad at saying no. Even now, I cringe thinking about why a 19-year-old would give her Snapchat to a man who looked to be in his 40s. After we closed and cleared the store, I met up with my closest co-worker. I'll call her Bestie. We were talking like we always did, decompressing before leaving. I casually mentioned the guy and told her his name was Kevin. Her face dropped immediately. She asked to see his Snapchat. The moment I pulled it up, she went completely quiet. Then she called over a manager we trusted. Suddenly I was being questioned. What did he look like? What exactly did he say? Was he alone? Then they told me who he really was. Kevin was a former employee who'd been fired after multiple incidents. He had stalked another girl who worked there. He'd showed up on his days off just to bother her. He used the posted schedules in the break room to track when she worked. It escalated badly enough that he was eventually terminated. When I started working there, we didn't even use paper schedules anymore. Everything was on an app, and he was the reason they changed it. Apparently now, I was next. That night, my manager and Bestie walked me to my car. Whilst we were standing there, my phone buzzed. It was a Snapchat message from Kevin. I showed them immediately. The message asked if I lived nearby and if I wanted to hang out. Bestie told me exactly what to say. She said to tell him I didn't live alone, had roommates nearby. When he asked if I could come over, I said no. I blocked him as soon as I got home. Out of curiosity, I looked him up on Facebook. He had a wife, kids, and a family. I considered warning her, but I was told the woman before me had tried, and the wife didn't believe her. The next day at work, Bestie called me over the walkie-talkie. "Kevin is here," she said. He was asking for me by name. This became a routine. Almost every shift he'd come in asking where I was. I'd hide in the break room, the back, wherever I could. Eventually, most of my co-workers knew what was happening and helped without question. One day, Bestie didn't see him coming. By the time I spotted him, she was already waving me down. She warned me over the walkie-talkie, and I ran to the jewellery department where an older co-worker worked. I'll call her Miss Joy. I barely had time to whisper, "Kevin." She understood immediately. He walked up and asked if a little Hispanic girl from clothing was working that day. Miss Joy told him no. He lingered, circling the counter, pretending to look at jewellery. I crouched behind that counter, pretending to search for something while customers stood nearby. Eventually, he left. I stayed hidden for over an hour just to be sure. What scared me the most was outside of work. Some nights after closing, we'd see a minivan idling in the parking lot with its lights off. He wouldn't leave until I walked to my car. I never proved it was him, but the timing was always wrong. After 5 months, he slowly stopped appearing at the store. No more questions, no more hiding. I never filed a restraining order. I was young, overwhelmed, and just trying to survive everything else in my life at the time. But to Kevin, who turned my workplace into a hiding place and made my co-workers protect me for months, if you are reading this, I hope you get some help.